From the Daily Catch, this is The Catch Up, and I'm Daily Catch editor Emily Sachar. This week's episode of The Catch Up is sponsored by Foster's at the Fair. If you're planning to visit the Dutchess County Fair next week, you should also plan on visiting Foster's at the Fair. Foster's is a great place to cool off and enjoy a full-service bar and indoor dining. You can also visit their beer tent with live music every night. Foster's is open every day during the fair until 10 p.m. Be sure to stop by and say hi to the Foster's crew. Rhinebeck school officials say the district's buildings need some serious work, from 60-year-old ventilation equipment to security upgrades, new windows, bathrooms, and playground improvements. Now they're asking voters to approve a $15.7 million capital improvement plan in a special election to be held October 20th. The proposal is split into two propositions. The first, for about $8 million, would be tax neutral. More on that in a minute. The second, about $7.5 million, would raise property taxes by about $90 a year for a home valued at $700,000. Daily Catch reporter Aliyah Gatto, who just joined our team this very week, attended Tuesday's school board meeting. She joins us now to explain what's in the plan, why the district says the work is needed, and what Rhinebeck voters will be asked to decide. It's the week of August 17th. Aliyah, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Before we get started, Aliyah, tell our listeners a little bit about you and why you wanted to join the Daily Catch, and also, of course, what you'll be doing for us.
Yeah, well, I've come into journalism after spending a lot of time in the literary and nonprofit sphere, but I always really adored journalists and I love writing, so I thought it would be a nice career switch. I went to journalism school and now I'm fresh into this education beat. And I wanted to come to the Daily Catch because I loved local journalism and I love the Hudson Valley. So it seemed like a confluence of those desires. So I'm glad to be here.
We're so glad you are. And we should mention that Aliyah just graduated from Columbia Journalism School, not just any journalism school. So great. Thank you. So Aliyah, let's get started. Let's look at the big picture. What exactly is the district proposing and why is it coming forward with this $15.7 million project now?
Yeah. So the Rhinebeck Central School District is proposing this project that would add security measures, like you said, to some of the school buildings, renovate old infrastructure like ventilation, flooring, certain bathrooms, and make improvements to the school's recreational areas like the elementary and middle school playgrounds. There's a long list of needs that the project seeks to address, and according to district leaders, all of them are much needed.
And why now? Why not? Typically, we see capital proposals come through in the spring.
Yeah, so from what I can gather, every few years, and I'll get into this more later, but the New York State Department of Education requires schools to do building condition surveys. And so this has been happening, this survey has been happening over the past year. So it seems that they've been receiving reports from these auditors from the state for the year and putting together this proposal. So it seems to me like it was a timing thing more than we don't want to include this in the budget because it seems like they're just ready to present it now.
Got it. So you reported in our story yesterday, and that meaning on Wednesday, that some of the elementary schools' ventilation equipment dates all the way back to 1966. So what is that? Almost 60 years.
Yeah.
How urgent did Superintendent Albert Cousins make these repairs sound?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so specifically for that one, that was actually one of the first points that he made when he started going through the list, that the elementary schools, he called them air handling units, are 60 years old. He said, quote, "They are way past their age for effectiveness." And there's a laundry list of improvements included in this project, as you'll hear about. But this was one of the first pieces of the project that he spoke about and he kept bringing back up. He said that essentially Any ventilation across the district's buildings that's 30 years old, they're looking to replace, but the ones at the elementary school, he said, are critical.
Got it. Security is another major piece of the proposal, Aaliyah, is it not?
Mhm.
So, yeah. What exactly are these new security vestibules that you wrote about, and how would they change the way students and visitors enter the schools?
Mhm. So yeah, at Tuesday night's board meeting, Cousins described the vestibules as bubbles. So they're these structures made of glass and metal that are going to sit in front of the entrances to the elementary school and high school. The architects and engineers that the district is working with provided concept images of what the vestibules would look like. Essentially, you have two sets of locking doors. In between these doors is a security booth, and the security booth has a sliding transaction window. So you can imagine, like any security booth that you've ever been through, you'll need to go through the first door and then you'll see the security guard. He said, sometimes a student might forget like their musical instrument or something. So the student or a visitor or anyone could pick up that instrument through the transaction window. So that's kind of how that would work. Along with the vestibules, I should mention our proposed upgrades to the school's security software and cameras. Cousins mentioned that they want to upgrade the video camera system to be cloud-based so that it can be accessed from any computer. Instead, right now, it seems like it's on a closed system, which makes any footage harder to access. He said that security is kind of one of the driving incentives of this project. It seems to be top of mind for them.
Hmm. And Aaliyah, the district has deliberately divided this project into two propositions. What's in Proposition 1, and why does the district consider those projects the crucial higher priority?
Mhm. So to answer that, I think it's just quickly worth explaining where the project came from, kind of like I mentioned before.
Hmm.
School districts are mandated by the State Department of Education to have their buildings surveyed every several years. I think it might be 4 or 5 years. According to Cousins, throughout the last year, the Rhinebeck School District was receiving reports and recommendations from the auditors behind this surveying process. They were looking at maintenance stuff, security stuff, health stuff that impact the facilities. It seems that the district leaders then built out the project by taking all of the findings and categorizing the needs into buckets in order of importance. So now we come to the propositions. They have categorized the project into two propositions, with Proposition 1 addressing the needs that the district and state have deemed to be most urgent. So it would add the security vestibules as an order of importance. It would upgrade the classroom vents, carpeting, boilers, electrical panels, and floor tiling at the elementary school. It would install air conditioning in the elementary school gym, and it would replace old and broken tile in the Rhinebeck High School and at the Buckley Middle School. And while the district hasn't yet shared its executive documents for this project with all these details, we can look at things like the elementary school's 60-year-old ventilation, which obviously needs to be upgraded, to maybe understand the considerations that the district took when making its decisions.
So it seems like two things are happening. Correct me if I'm wrong, Aaliyah. They put the most important or the most essential projects in Proposition 1, and they also made that proposition tax neutral. Explain
Mhm.
what that means. What is a
Yeah.
tax neutral project or tax neutral proposition?
Yes. So Proposition 1 is tax neutral, meaning that if it's approved by voters, it will not increase taxes for the community. That it needs to be voted on is really just a legal mandate. In most districts in New York State, when a district wants to issue bonds to finance a larger project or spend funds from its capital reserve, it just needs voter authorization. So, yes, Proposition 1 by itself is not going to raise taxes.
And that's because the money to fund those projects is available through some other mechanism.
Yeah, so I can get into that, but they've broken the propositions down into a few different buckets. So I can just break it down now. So the two propositions together, as you said before, are going to cost $15.7 million. Proposition 1 is going to total a little over $8 million, or as the language specifically states, it's not to exceed $8 million.
Hmm.
2 million of these dollars would be paid for by the capital reserve fund that the district already has.
Hmm.
For the remainder, the district would issue bonds not to exceed $6 million. But they did it in a way, I guess, that at least in Proposition 1, it's going to remain, the debt service is going to remain constant. So people won't owe more than they're already paying.
Hmm.
And for Proposition 2, which we haven't gone over the details yet, but just the financials, the district would issue bonds not to exceed $7.6 million. And the language not to exceed is a little in the weeds, but it's kind of important here because the district will also be taking state aid into account. So it's kind of unclear right now to what extent state aid would impact the bonds. But from the language of the propositions, we can deduce that state aid will contribute to the financial calculation in the end.
Got it. Okay. And just to finish up on the tax neutral piece, when you said some of this money is coming from a bond, but it's tax neutral, it sounds like the district already has the money to pay that debt service back.
I don't know at this point, but I think we will find out more. The district is stressing that they want to be communicative with the public, and they're actually going to be holding a meeting next month to take public comments and questions with a financial advisor.
Okay. So let's go over Proposition 2. Let me say that again. Let's go over Proposition 2. What is in this one?
Mhm. Yes. So, Proposition 2 includes installation of a power generator at the elementary school, where, by the way, all the frozen food in the district is kept. So, kind of important still. It includes upgrades to the elementary and middle school playgrounds, replacement of the high school bleachers, renovations of 4 of the bathrooms across the district buildings, conversion of the middle school girls' locker room into a visiting team's locker room, and replacement of old windows and upgrades to heating and cooling controls. So kind of a whole host of things in Proposition 2.
Mm-hmm. So vote into the voting booth and they'll choose one or they'll choose two. They can accept one, reject another, accept both, reject both, many different permutations. Is that correct?
Yes, well, what's interesting is that in order for, at least the way the language is written, in order for Proposition 2 to pass, Proposition 1 has to pass first.
Yes.
So, yeah, Proposition 2 can't pass without Proposition 1.
Got it. Okay. And how much must the district pay from its capital reserve and how much would it have to borrow for these
Yeah,
propositions combined?
yeah. So, like I said before, as of right now, at least the way it's worded, $2 million would come from the capital reserve fund. And for the proposition, for the first proposition, $6 million would be issued in bonds. And then for the second proposition, 7.6 million would be issued in bonds. Again, that's not to exceed language. So they're going to borrow up to that much, but they're also going to take into account any state aid that they receive.
Great. So, Aaliyah, Red Hook recently split a capital budget proposal into two propositions, and voters approved one and rejected a second one. This was a project to rehabilitate its bus garage depot. Did Rhinebeck officials, in any case, explicitly say that that experience in Red Hook influenced their decision to divide the proposal?
I don't believe they explicitly said this during their meeting, but it is kind of the same strategy that Red Hook used last spring. So it's possible that that was in the back of their heads when they were building out the project. Yeah.
Mhm. I think one difference may have been that Proposition 1 in Red Hook did not have to be approved in order for the bus depot to be approved. They were
Right.
decoupled completely, which it sounds like in this case, there is a linkage between the two, as you just
Yeah.
alluded. Aaliyah, was there any disagreement among school board members Tuesday evening about the size, the scope, the cost of these projects?
So there wasn't any disagreement as far as I could tell. There were a lot of questions asked by other board members, like Vice President Juliet Gorman and another trustee, Mark Fleischhauser. Really good questions that I think a lot of us have. just about the finances and the timeline. Cousins told me after the meeting that this announcement was kind of the kickoff for this whole project. So it's the first time they're all together talking about it publicly. So, there are going to be questions about financing and the timeline and other things, but the board also has plans to disseminate more information to the community and is making room to hear back from the community before the October vote.
Got it. So that's a good segue to the next question I have for you. What will happen between now, August 20th, 21st, and October 20th or so, which is about 2 months from now? When will residents have a chance to ask questions, to learn? What's the next few weeks going to look like?
So the board said that they're going to disseminate a mailer or a flyer in the mail that to community members that has more information on the project, just kind of like a summary. There's also going to be a very important meeting on September 22nd. So this is the board's regularly scheduled meeting, but they will be hosting some of the project's experts, like their financial advisor and the project's architect. And they're encouraging members of the Rhinebeck community to come and ask questions and give comment at that meeting. So that's September 22nd at, I believe, 7 p.m. at the Bulkley Middle School.
And I know also our listeners will care a lot to be able to figure out what the financial impact is going to be on them specifically. So tell us what plans are available or what plans will be in the offing so people can literally find out for their specific property.
Yeah, so at Tuesday's meeting, Cousins mentioned that they are going to try to make available a calculator that community members can use, an online calculator where they can plug in, the value of their home, for instance, and see how much more they would have to pay in taxes per year if both propositions pass. Again, Proposition 1 is tax neutral, so no added cost. I don't think we touched on this, but Proposition 2 would add on average 13 cents to every $1,000 valuation of your home. So for the example that I think they used in the meeting was for a non-senior, non-star resident, if you own a $700,000 home, you can expect to pay about $90 in taxes in a year, 90 extra dollars. So they said they're going to have a calculator available. They're going to bring in a financial advisor at the September 22nd meeting. So all these questions can get addressed.
And we're saying $90 additional per year, but we're not saying for how many years that additional increase will be levied.
Without the project details, I can't be sure how many years this project is going to take. However, Cousins did mention that they have a really strict timeline that they have in a document that they're looking at that is so strict that he said the day after the vote, if both of the propositions pass, they're going to get to work right away on the high school flooring. So it'll start right away, at least the planning phase for the flooring, to be installed starting the following summer. So they are going to try to get to work on it right away, it seems.
Yeah, thank you. I think what I was also alluding to is the timeline over which the financing would be spread. So whether they're spreading it over 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, those details, it sounds like, will come out in the next few weeks as they explain how they calculated the $90 on the average home. Well, that's great. Well, Aaliyah, thank you so much. I'm so glad we broke you in on your first catch-up episode, and I know we'll welcome you back to the show many times in the months ahead. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Emily. It was great to be here.
And now, thank you again to our sponsor this month, Foster's at the Fair. If you're planning to visit the Dutchess County Fair next week, and I should let you know, it's my favorite week of the year, you should also plan on visiting Foster's at the Fair, where you can cool off and enjoy a full-service bar, indoor dining, and a beer tent with live music nightly. Foster's is open every day during the fair until 10 p.m. And that concludes the catch-up. Thanks to Matty Rosenberg, Jen Hammoud, and Esther Martell at our partner, Radio Free Rhinecilff, for their help in producing this episode. We'll see you next time.